once again, everybody, we're getting set with just 1 week to go until new episodes of TV Trash return. I definitely want to thank the likes of Dailymotion, Springboard, and my new friends at Manic Expression for helping make this transition and allow TV Trash and the other Rowdy reviewer shows to keep on going. Obviously, we're all here for one reason. We've developed a very good love of internet reviewing and people willing to create funny caricatures of themselves that criticize, critique, and otherwise praise the forms of media we grew to enjoy growing up. Obviously, I wouldn't have gotten into this business if there weren't a lot of other people that had done it that encouraged me to go and do this. And there are still a large number of people that I follow in my own right and keep encouraging me to push on and do this show even better. So we're going to take this time to show you probably those that have the most influence on me and the most enjoyment have given to me. Obviously, there are some honorable mentions on this list that couldn't make the cut. People like Huey Toonmore, Film Brain, Mars Girl, a whole bunch of people that unfortunately could not make the final list that we're about to count down. And so just keep in mind, if I've seen mentioned in the past that I watch your show, you all have done a very good impact in my life and my decision to be an internet reviewer. So with that out of the way, let's see my top 10 picks of my favorite internet reviewers. Number 10. The Comic Strip Critic. One of the things I do take some pride in is helping John Weber just a little in getting his show noticed. When I was considering subjects for my own review show, comic strips were something I thought about. So when I saw that he had started a show on that subject, it definitely drew my interest, and thus I offered him a spot on my website. Eli Stone saw his work there, relayed it to Reviewers Unknown, and things just fell into place for him since. I've always admired how he does actively try to find the good stuff in what has been a struggling medium over the years. I may have fallen into the overused style of the angry reviewer, but I do appreciate variety, and the Comic Strip Critic provides that in both the style and the subject matter. And it's paid off for him, as he's attracted the attention of cartoonists around the country. With the efforts of people like him, people are discovering that the funny pages still can be. Number 9. The Hardcore Kid. You gotta admire anyone who comes up with a catchphrase like hardcore enough to review kid stuff. Yeah, I may have my reservations about reviewing recent stuff aimed at younger audiences, but that's okay because Brandon has that taken care of. That's not to say recent kid stuff is the only thing covered on his show. Hardcore Kid reviews cover a wide range of movies from over the years, and he will find some good stuff at times. Overall, his reviews help showcase where children's entertainment has gone over the years, and whether or not it's become a hardcore headache, as he prefers to say it, said reviews can always keep you coming back for more. Number 8. The Cartoon Hero. I think Eli is one of the first reviewers to really notice my own show, and we've been instrumental in plugging and supporting each other's work since. Animation is admittedly one area that is covered excessively on the internet, but Cartoon Hero does it as well as anyone. And you gotta hand it to Eli for creating a character that's completely separate from his own persona, while many of us, including myself, have just made embellished versions of ourselves. The reviews are usually informative, covering just about everything from older cartoons to more recent anime, and he's willing to have about as good a mix of good and bad material as I've seen among the reviewers I follow. His slogan, "With great nostalgia comes great responsibility," is actually a pretty good metaphor for what internet reviewers do, and he handles that responsibility as well as anyone. Number 7. The Mysterious Mr. Enter. I freely admit that I'm jealous of just how quickly Mr. Enter has risen in popularity since his series started. Though I think two things play a part. He's still willing to post full reviews on YouTube, while someone like me got fed up with their politics years ago. And he covers a lot of stuff involving My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and SpongeBob, which is going to draw viewers. Still, I can see that he's earned the praise because his work is amazing. The dry, snarky tone is exactly what I shoot for and would probably do better if I had a better voice. And he's definitely going to do this for a long time by focusing on single episodes for the most part. We've already reviewed the same things multiple times and likely will again, and I look forward to seeing what different views he can give. Hopefully we can find out a way to cross over one of these days. In the meantime, I'm going to look at guys like Mr. Enter as an example of what I need to do to get better. Number 6. The Nostalgia Critic. Come on, you knew this guy was gonna be on the list somewhere, right? Just about every internet critic out there, whether they admit it or not, wanted to be like the Nostalgia Critic at some point. And that's why his influence is felt all over the net. Yeah, I can admit that some of what the Critic has done since his return doesn't sometimes seem up to par with a lot of his older material, but there are still the moments that indicate he's still got it, like when he did his full review of the entire Disney afternoon. Besides, credit needs to be given where credit is due. The Nostalgia Critic is the reason so many of us were drawn into the internet reviewing genre in the first place. Maybe James Rolfe started the trend, but Doug Walker is really the guy who put it on the map, setting the standard for snarky reviewers of media on the web. And for that, he will always have my admiration and respect. Number 5. Movie Bob. I think Bob Chipman is a bit of an acquired taste, especially given his fast-paced style, and he's definitely not going to make friends with stuff like his criticism of Kevin Smith. But I enjoy his work, especially the big picture videos, because their intent is clearly to make you think. And he's willing to take on a myriad of different subjects, from movies to sports to video games. That's not to say I completely agree with everything he says. The first video I watched of his was his attempt to defend Sucker Punch, and I can tell you, his deconstruction of what that plot was really about didn't make me like the film. It just changed the reason I didn't like it. Still, his stuff is very detailed, and he does his best to show that he's at least trying to show a logical and unbiased, if still emotional, take on the subject. And when he went on a lengthy comment rant against that blogger that criticized internet reviewers, the name escapes me at the moment, my respect for him grew even more. I was actually disappointed that he didn't make a big picture video on the subject. Still, I look forward to his future videos and his take on whatever is happening in modern pop culture. Number 4. Confused Matthew. Yeah, this is one I know I'm going to get a lot of calls of. I must respectfully disagree. I get it. Matthew is definitely a polarizing individual, to say the least, by daring to go after movies that are largely popular. A lot of people probably think he may be trolling, but I think he definitely has these opinions and simply isn't afraid to state them. And I can always respect that. And you know, I love how he finally gave me a reason to really dislike Titanic by pointing out the egregious and slanderous historical mistakes made in that film. Besides, it's not like he hates everything that is popular. Just check out his review of Frozen he recently made. Trust me, it might change your opinion of him. I think we too often forget that most reviewers do subscribe to the belief that no one has to believe and agree with whatever strong opinion they may share. And Matthew has, for the most part, tried to make that known. So, hate on Confused Matthew if you so wish, but me, I'm always going to admire him for being willing to speak his mind. Even if some of what he says, even I don't understand, like his take on the Marvel movies. Number 3. Linkara. Just a few years ago, I declared Linkara to be my favorite in the reviewerverse, and he still holds up among the best. There is a lot from his style of reviewing that admittedly went into my own, especially stuff like not using excessive foul language and the message that part of reviewing bad stuff is about helping people to appreciate the good. Then again, there is still a lot about his reviewing and story writing style that I can still only wish I could be as good as. Admittedly, one of the reasons I've not done as many storylines as him is because I don't have a lot of people who can help me with them due to them all having, lives, but I still look at how he interweaves his own drama with so many elements of pop culture that he grew up with, and can only wish I could come up with something as creative. I mean, comparing a video game glitch to Lovecraft, that's impressive. And naturally, my admiration for him only grew when he plugged Manic Expression and other reviewer sites on Tumblr to those that didn't get recently approved by that guy with the glasses. There's a reason I think he's made more videos than almost any other reviewer. He's completely dedicated to his craft and his fan base, and it has paid off with him being one of the most successful out there. Whether they actually or virtually do, it seems bad comics will continue to burn for some time now. Number 2. The Spoony One. Yeah, Linkara and Spoony are practically 1 and 1A for the inspiration into my own show. In a way, Noah Antweiler's show was the pioneer of the angry reviewer with storylines show, dating back to his confrontation with Insano and Squall at the end of his Final Fantasy VIII review. And yeah, it can sometimes get frustrating as to how long it can take between his review videos at times, but I get the feeling that's largely because he wants everything to be right and complete and will take his time to do so, and I can admire that. Believe me, I can personally attest from the final entries in my Zelda retrospective that producing game reviews, especially of current games, takes a lot of time. Of course, when talking about Spoony, we have to bring up the elephant in the room. When Spoony had his breakdown and his relationship with Channel Awesome fractured, I had a feeling he was dealing with emotional and psychological issues, which I can sort of relate to. And that's why I couldn't be too judgmental of him. And I'm glad to see that since he has gotten help and all parties have moved on. And I loved the bit in Nostalgia Critic's Blood Rain review where they lampoon the incident. It was kind of their own subtle way of telling everyone, it's time to move on, people. Ultimately, I wish Spoony the best, and I think finding someone like April will hopefully do him a world of good, and I look forward to where the experiment goes in the future. All of that made me certain for some time that Spoony would make number 1 on this list. But no, after careful thought, I realized that there is one show that has to take precedent over all else. My number 1 favorite internet critic? Nash and Tara. There are some review shows that even if I like them, I may miss or skip a video for one reason or another. But I have to make it a point to catch what the F is wrong with you every single week. I don't catch the live radio dead air show on Mondays, but I am certain to catch the vlog on Saturdays. This is largely because I just can't imagine getting the full effect without seeing Nash and Tara's expressions to the horrors they report on each week. The banter and sarcastic remarks are almost always on the nose in calling out the stupidity of the people whose actions make those headlines. Though I do think at times Nash gets a little overly critical and perhaps hypocritical of a news writer trying to add a little levity to a story they otherwise wish they didn't have to write. But the best part about it is that, as Nash has said before, this show could have the greatest longevity of them all. Eventually, the Critic is going to run out of nostalgic material to review. Linkara may run out of bad comics. I may even one day run out of bad TV shows. But people will always keep doing incredibly stupid things, and therefore, Nash and Tara will always have material to drive them up the wall as to just how badly people will try and challenge Darwin's theory of humans evolving upward from less intelligent creatures. What the F is Wrong With You may not be a true review show in the sense of it not fully reviewing an actual piece of entertainment media, but it's hilarious and does a phenomenal job showing that the actions of real humans can be even worse and more deserving of snark than any bad media. And that is why Nash and Tara have risen to the top of my list of the best internet critics out there. That's gonna do it for this list. The only thing left to do now is for you guys to sit back and wait, as on August 25th, TV Trash returns with the all-new episodes you've long been waiting for. Until then, nanu, nanu.